From downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
A home on the east side raided because of a suspected heroin dealer. We'll tell you why the investigation started much further from here.
Also a sewer setback, trouble at the Fraser sinkhole site after 9 feet of raw sewage pours into a trench.
Developing right now, video shows a Detroit police officer make a rough arrest.
Bro, look at this on me again. I'm gonna need you to back up, all right?
Now the Wayne County prosecutor is considering charges against the officer.
And Local 4 obtained that video today, and now there are a whole lot of questions surrounding it.
We do know right now that officer is on restricted duty. The Wayne County prosecutors trying to decide whether charges need to come in the case. Rod Maloney with us now live. And Rod, I know you were asking to speak to Chief Craig about this.
Yes, we did try to speak to Chief Craig, and as it stands right now, he's not saying anything about this, but he has known about this since it happened at the end of May. Now, I want to state that in the beginning there, you heard the bleeps of the language in this thing. We took those out in the story. It's going to be silent. You'll hear a little bit of silence in the story here. But let's set the scene for you here, okay? You got two African-American officers, and as the video starts, we find them on the ground on top of an African-American young man, and it looks like they're going to arrest him.
Don't you ever put your hands on me. You ever put your hands on me. I was going to school. I don't give a what the was going on. Chill, bro. Don't say nothing, bro.
But then they let the African-American male up off of the ground, and the confrontation escalates.
Y'all touch me. Bro, how much y'all say? Mother, let me tell you something. You walk up on me like that again, I'm gonna...
The man circles around the friend with the camera and goes into the gas station while the cameraman jaws with one of the officers. The other officer followed the first man into the station, and while we don't hear what happened, the officer breaks out his mace.
Give me a camera. Bro. No, he can just mace, bro. Look at this. On me again. I'm gonna need you to back up, all right? Just back up. Bro, why is he pushing me, man? Back up.
The unidentified officer who threw the man down is on desk duty, awaiting word on what might happen to him after the criminal investigation started. Meantime, we showed the video to Local 4 security analyst and former DPD veteran, Lieutenant Tom Berry.
First of all, the guy's maced and he doesn't react whatsoever. And when a guy's maced or a guy's tased and he doesn't react whatsoever, usually that's an indication that they're on narcotics. It's pretty plain and simple. Most police officers know that.
Now, one of the other things that Barry told me was that the officers, when they went and started using the mace, that effectively and technically meant that the man was in custody, and it was that then their right, or they were within their rights, to use whatever force is necessary to get that person into custody. And he said they used force. The question of whether it's excessive force, he says he can't say because he didn't see what happened before or even after the video. One of the things that Kim Worthy has to decide, and she will have more video from other spots within this thing and have a better handle on what happened previous to that, she's the one that will determine whether there will be any charges for this officer. Back to you.
Well, Rod, as for after the video, do we know what happened to the man thrown to the ground?
Yes, the man thrown to the ground was arrested and he was charged with what we do not know yet. We also don't know what the original call was for, and we're waiting to hear all of that. And I imagine that the chief is going to be talking about this probably in the next few days to at least make some clarifications as to precisely what's transpired here.
We will keep offering that opportunity, that's for sure. All right, Rod. Ken.
Okay, now to some breaking news we're following from St. Clair Shores, where police are investigating a bad crash at 10 Mile and Little Mac. Police say an elderly man hit the gas instead of the brake, hitting an elderly woman. This is at the Beaumont Medical Clinic, and right now no word on that woman's condition. We'll update you, though, as soon as we learn any new information.
Also breaking right now, a quick scare at Detroit Metro Airport after a gun was found inside a man's luggage at a security checkpoint. The man was taken into custody. There it was determined that he is indeed a CPL holder, but it is still an ordinance violation, so he will be cited and then released. Things returning to normal. But now also breaking news coming to us out of Farmington Hills. A 16-year-old boy is accused of killing his mother. The woman was found dead inside the family home on Howard Road Monday night, originally investigated as an accident, but now police are telling us it's a homicide. The teenage son is in custody, being held right now at Children's Village. Much more ahead on this story coming up on Local 4 News at 6.
Okay, now to brand new information on a story we've been following. West Bloomfield police raided this home today in connection with an ongoing investigation into heroin laced with fentanyl. But here's where things get a little interesting. This house was in Detroit. So why were West Bloomfield police raiding a house miles away, far outside their jurisdiction? Jason Colthorpe shows us the tragic connection.
It's a case that began here in West Bloomfield on August 8th when a woman, 26 years old, overdosed and died on heroin laced with fentanyl. But the investigation took police 23 miles away to this home on Detroit's east side near 7 Mile. This morning, with assistance from Novi officers, West Bloomfield police executed a search warrant. Police sources say the 41-year-old man arrested here is a suspected heroin and fentanyl dealer.
Fentanyl is a very it's a prescription drug used a lot of times with cancer patients, extremely powerful, and in certain doses that's going to be fatal.
Fatal for users and even police who might just come in contact with it. They have to use extreme caution just searching vehicles and conducting raids like this one.
Just a very small amount of this fentanyl can kill one of the officers. So, we have to be very careful. It's a very dangerous drug, and we're seeing it throughout the entire country.
Police aren't saying what was seized from this home today, but they left with a few evidence bags. Family of the married couple that lives here says they found holes in the wall and lots of other damage as a result of officers looking for drugs.
If people are going to lace heroin with fentanyl or carfentanil, we're going to try our best to track them down and to bring the appropriate charges.
Underneath that board, a little damage from this morning's raid, a busted out window. The man's wife was also put in cuffs while officers executed that search warrant, but I'm told she is not in custody. The 41-year-old suspected heroin dealer could be arraigned as early as tomorrow. On the east side, Jason Colthorpe, Local 4.
Right, Jason. And Local 4 and our parent company, Graham Media, are proud to announce our ongoing commitment to fighting the opioid epidemic. Opioid Nation, an American epidemic, launched today and will include special broadcasts like we have coming up in 2 weeks. It'll also include community outreach programs and public service announcements. The effort also has a large online component where right now we're asking you to get involved by sharing stories of addiction. You can find the link at clickondetroit.com/addiction.
A gorgeous day. You might have thought, though, it was a little cool because it was quite a bit cooler than what we had just 2 days ago.
It was, nice to get rid of that heat and humidity,
Yeah.
but we may start going a little bit too far in the other direction here, at least in the next few days, because these numbers haven't stopped falling just yet. 75 is where we're at right now in Metro Detroit. Sky conditions anywhere between partly and mostly cloudy. We've seen a lot of cumulus clouds out there, and so far they have yet to drop any sprinkles. Not out of the question. We saw a couple of those in the thumb earlier this afternoon, so may see a couple drops. Dry and crisp tonight as we head down to a very cool finish. Even cooler tomorrow, especially as we get into the afternoon. We'll look at that in your 4-zone forecast, and a beautiful weekend on tap. We'll detail that and see how long it's going to be before we finally get some rain in here coming up. Guys?
One man is dead after a crash this morning on I-94.
Happened about 5:30 in the morning on eastbound 94 near Mount Elliott in Detroit. Police still trying to figure out what caused the car to slam into the median wall and then crash into a bridge support. Investigators said the driver was a 49-year-old Harper Woods man who was not wearing a seatbelt at the time.
In Charlottesville, Virginia, the statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee is now covered with a black tarp. City crews gathered around the statue earlier today, covering it using ropes and poles. A small group of onlookers gathered, some cheering, as the statue was finally covered. City Council voted yesterday to drape the Robert E. Lee statue. The statue was covered as a way of symbolizing the city's mourning for Heather Heyer. Heyer was killed after a car smashed into a crowd protesting a white nationalist rally.
Some would say it's a tale of two Trumps. Today, the president was in Reno signing legislation aimed at helping veterans. His speech in front of the American Legion Convention there, scripted, the president using a teleprompter and staying very much on message. Vastly different from last night's raucous rally in Phoenix. Blaine Alexander has more from Washington. Blaine?
Well, Devin, what was notable about last night is that President Trump was speaking at a campaign rally. This was not an official White House event. So for 77 minutes, we saw the president speaking largely unscripted, just as he did before he was elected. In 2 days, two vastly different tones from President Trump. Today, in a speech to the American Legion,
it is time to heal the wounds that divide us and to seek a new unity based on the common values that unite us.
But last night, at a campaign rally in Phoenix,
the only people giving a platform to these hate groups is the media itself and the fake news.
The president facing renewed backlash after defiantly retreading his response to Charlottesville.
We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence. That's me speaking on Saturday.
But notably omitting the words that caused so much outrage.
Hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides. On many sides.
The president taking swipes at both of Arizona's Republican senators and backing the rest of the GOP into a corner on his controversial border wall.
Believe me, if we have to close down our government, we're building that wall.
Last night's fiery rhetoric, a far cry from Monday's somber and scripted address on Afghanistan.
They sound entirely different. And I think we know which one's the real one. I think the real one showed up in Phoenix.
President Trump today signing a bill to improve veterans' health care, a presidential act potentially overshadowed by a speech reminiscent of his presidential campaign. And those jabs last night from the president toward fellow Republicans only put further strain on his relationship with his own party. And of course, they will need to work together if they hope to get anything done when Congress returns from recess next month. At the White House, Blaine Alexander, Local 4.
All right, Blaine, and we are just getting started here at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, we've got a lot more ahead in this next hour, including a Michigan mother accused of the ultimate betrayal of her own daughters. And a brand new warning for folks planning a trip to Mexico, why you may want to rethink your plans. Hank?
A big day in the city of Flint. You'll see the major contribution just made that will change lives for years to come.
About 9 feet of sewage backed up into a repair trench here at the sinkhole in Fraser. That's the kind of setback they don't need. Is that going to affect the repair schedule? And will it now cost more? We'll take a look.
Daily. New at 6.
She calls herself a dominatrix. New at 6, what she's accused of doing that has her in the middle of a federal investigation.
A Metro Detroit City is putting an end to aggressive panhandling. The new ordinance that just went into effect and the punishment it allows for any violators along busy intersections.
All right, now to a big issue at the Fraser sinkhole site. Monday night, something caused 9 feet of sewage to back up into the trench where that massive new sewer line is being built.
Indeed, a setback for crews working to fix this issue for months. Steve Garagiola is in Fraser tonight. Steve, it sounds like this is a big setback.
Well, setback is definitely a word that applies here. You know, it's not a leak, it's not a break, it's not a collapse. They're calling it a backup. Sewage that was headed downstream and backed up into a repair trench here at the repair site of the sinkhole. Definitely a setback, but this definitely goes in the category of things that could have been much worse. The problem actually sounds worse than it is.
So our interceptor collapsed here on 15 Mile Road in Fraser.
Monday night, a repair trench flooded with sewage 9 feet deep. Let's start with the good news.
Nobody was hurt. That was the very first and foremost thing we all ask ourselves. Did anybody get hurt? Nobody did.
The system is designed so that during the repair work, if a backup like this should happen, the sewage would be contained. Commissioner Miller says the design worked just as planned.
Not one drop of this sewage is getting anywhere outside of our shaft. And that's really an important consideration.
The original drain collapse happened last December. The repair project is scheduled to be complete by the end of September. We're getting close. Commissioner Miller says draining and reinforcing this trench sets work back a few days, but the target completion date has not changed.
We're not anticipating any that I need any more money for this. We're still going to be within budget. So if we can say that we're still on schedule and still within budget, in spite of this.
That's about all you can hope for. Nobody got hurt. They believe they're still on schedule and it would not cost any more money. They've been pumping out the site and they're ready to get back to work either tomorrow or the next day. I was chatting with folks inside the restaurant here, the Green Lantern, and they said, well, today there's no smell, but yesterday they had a group on the patio that after 10 minutes said, can we please move indoors? So it was a little bit bad yesterday, but now everybody is back on track. Guys, back to you.
I can only imagine. Steve, any idea what caused this, though?
Yeah, you know, they really don't at this point. There are two likely candidates. Number one is a blockage of some kind, and they don't know what that would be. Number two, more likely, is a silt and sand buildup, because that has been a constant battle. They're constantly cleaning it out. So they will do an investigation first and see if they can clear that out so this doesn't happen again.
Yeah, and like you said, could have been a whole lot worse. So we'll thankful
absolutely.
for that. Yeah, okay. Steve, thanks.
We could say the same thing of today's weather. It could be a whole lot worse. It is really lovely, isn't it, today?
It really is, though. It did feel a little bit more like the end of September, I'd say.
It's almost like Mother Nature's rushing us along a little bit. We still have some summer left to enjoy. By the end of the forecast, it'll feel like more like summer, but just not here in the next couple days. Temperatures, in fact, still going the other direction before we start warming up, heading towards the upcoming weekend. 75 is where we're at right now, and the wind out there, when it's on the crisp side, a little noticeable at west-northwest at 13, but generally not too far from average today, just a few degrees off of those average highs. Plenty of cumulus clouds out there and the sunshine trying to work around it. And again, we saw a couple of those sprinkles sort of run through the thumb, but that's about it. Tomorrow's chance just a little bit better, and we'll look at that for in just a second. But the rain's going to be a whole lot more likely down here in the Gulf South. This is Tropical Depression Harvey, which is going to be heading towards the Texas coast as we get through the next few days. 5 p.m. advisory in from the National Hurricane Center with winds at 35 miles an hour. This will strengthen. It will likely become a hurricane at least briefly as it heads towards the Texas coast. The official forecast has it at 70-mile-an-hour winds by Friday afternoon. But watch what happens. This thing just slows down and meanders over the weekend. So it's really not the winds that are going to be the worst part of this storm. It's going to be the rainfall. Our color table here stops at a foot of rain. And look at how much of the Texas and Louisiana coast is expecting between 10 and 15 inches of the rain. The Hurricane Center is saying there could be spots seeing as much as 20 inches from this storm. Just amazing amounts of water. Back home, just a couple showers around this afternoon. Better chances as we get into tomorrow. There's going to be just a little disturbance slide down that could enhance those showers. But the amounts of rain are going to be light. I know a lot of us still needing some water, and unfortunately, there's not a whole lot in the forecast. High pressure comes in after that and keeps us dry all the way into the middle of next week. 54 tonight for the overnight low. Skies becoming mostly clear and the winds are going to become light. And look at high temperatures tomorrow, struggling to hit 70 degrees. Metro zone temperatures, some of our warmest. We will hit 70 here, but in our south zone tomorrow, we're looking at temperatures that are generally in the upper 60s, 68 or 69 respectively. West zone numbers not too much cooler, a couple 66s out there in Livingston County. And coolest numbers will be up here in Sanilac County, where we'll see 64 for high temperatures. And by the way, these 50-degree lows that we're expecting in our metro zone could definitely be some 40s around for the next couple nights outside the city, but plenty of sunshine as we head into the upcoming weekend. And those numbers on Saturday and Sunday looking pretty good. 76 Saturday, 78 on Sunday, and a ton of sunshine all the way into the middle.
We'll just skip past that 52 in there. That's just a little aberration.
I don't see it.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Ben. Okay, $700 million is up for grabs in the Powerball drawing tonight. Ahead here at 5, we're taking you behind the scenes at Powerball HQ to show you the intense security and the one thing lottery officials do to ensure that there's no funny business.
It's where they keep the ping pong balls, I think. But first, stories from across Michigan, including a horrible crash on the west side of the state. We'll tell you about it when we come back.
Across Michigan tonight, we are following stories from up north in Boyne City and Charlotte.
But we'll start this roundup over in Grand Haven. That's where 3 people received minor injuries this morning when a car smashed into a pool services business right there in Grand Haven. The injured included 2 people inside the car, but also a woman who was at work inside the business. The young driver of the car told police she just got her driver's permit last week. She was also driving a friend's car and says she hit the gas pedal instead of the brake, leading to the crash. A Charlotte woman has admitted she embezzled tens of thousands of dollars from her daughters.
Lori Jean Glenser became financial conservator of money for her daughters after her ex-husband's suicide, but she allegedly deposited much less than the $280,000 from insurance that was supposed to go into the girls' accounts. And she allegedly altered court-approved withdrawals for expenses. 47-year-old could face 20 years in prison if she is convicted. In Boyne City, a new mat will give people easier access to Peninsula Beach.
Take a look at the MobiMat. Its purpose is to give anyone with mobility challenges an easier route to get to the beach, beneficial for people who use wheelchairs, walkers, but parents with strollers will benefit as well. A kayak launch was also installed at the beach, and that allows for better stability coming in or out of a kayak. Also helps ease the process of launching or pulling out of the lake.
New at 5:30.
A husband and father accused of stalking a woman for months, and that's just the beginning.
At one point, she made a comment jokingly that, hey, I feel like you're stalking me. And he pulled his shirt up and he displayed what she says is to be a badge.
I've got a great story for you out of Taylor, though it starts with an unfortunate circumstance, a man having a heart attack. But then what happened afterwards, the video kind of tells the story. You're going to hear from this firefighter.
Millions of dollars to help the children in Flint. You'll see who's behind this incredibly generous donation. New tonight.
Next week.
A promise to Flint fulfilled. The children in Flint getting a big boost from the owner of the Detroit Pistons. Tom Gores and Consumers Energy are teaming up to help the future of Flint. They announced a major scholarship program today called the Flint Promise.
And the goal is getting kids in the city of Flint on their way to college. Hank Winchester joins us live from Little Caesars Arena, which of course is the future home of the Pistons. Big news for Flint, Hank.
It certainly is, Devin. You know, Tom Gores will be spending a lot of time here at the arena behind us here in Detroit, but today the focus was on the city of Flint. A big moment and a big check presentation. $2 million total towards the Flint Promise Scholarship Program. $1 million from Consumers Energy, another $1 million from Flint native and current owner of the Pistons, Tom Gores.
Tom grew up in this community, believes in this community, and recognizes the, how important education is to give our young people a better future and a chance at achieving that. And I think he felt that there was no better way than providing and supporting the idea of the promise to give everyone the chance to go to college.
Gores is a Flint guy, a native, and like many around the country, he's been keeping a close eye on the water situation in Flint. Still today, the water is not safe to drink without a filter, and we know many children have been affected. This scholarship fund, a way to give back and help those who need it most. In a statement, Gores says, I grew up in Flint, went to school here, and appreciate the power of education to transform people's lives and revitalize a community.
He wanted to, be able to, provide the children of today sort of the hope and future that, that he felt that he had when he was here as a young person.
A lot of the scholarship details are still being hammered out, like who can apply and when. But we do know Gores has a partner, Consumers Energy, committed to helping kids here in this community.
Consumers Energy considers Flint one of our hometowns, which is why we've made the largest gift we have made in our company foundation history.
Yeah, this is certainly a big investment in the city of Flint and the children of Flint, but not Tom Gores' first investment. In fact, you may remember last year, he was a big supporter, financial supporter of our WDIV statewide telethon, pledging more than $1 million for educational and nutritional programs in his hometown. We're live here downtown tonight. Hank Winchester, back to you.
And Hank, quickly an update on the water testing picture in Flint right now.
And Devin, another round of testing is expected in September, but as we've been saying right now, still the EPA and authorities saying do not drink the water in Flint without a filter.
More testing next month. All right, Hank. There is a neighborhood in Taylor that is bursting with community pride today.
Yeah, just yesterday, a man was having a heart attack and a neighbor started CPR to keep him alive. But as Nick Monticelli reports, it is what happened after firefighters left that's now the talk of the town.
Good evening. The most important part about this story is the victim, Dan, and we'll talk about how he's doing, but it is nice to have this discussion, this feel-good community story, because of one firefighter And again, what he did with this grass.
The man was laying on the ground over there.
It is not every day you see someone in desperate need of help. But Renee Oki saw across the street her neighbor Dan Zimney was in trouble. He had a heart attack while cutting his grass. A neighbor was doing CPR. 911 was called. 2 Taylor firefighters showed up. They put Dan in an ambulance and sped off. One of those 2 firefighters went in that ambulance too.
This is the monitor we use.
Leaving Chris Hudson there to clean up the mess from all the instruments they use.
All the wrapping and all that's kind of left over to the scene, so don't want to leave a whole bunch of basically trash at that point in the yard. So we always just have one man stay back, make sure the scene's clear.
But Chris's definition of scene is clear might be different from others, because he also finished the yard work, and Renee's husband caught it on camera.
Really, I didn't even know anybody caught me on tape doing it. I just was going to cut the lawn and come back to the station.
But by the time he got back, this Facebook post was already up.
About 10 minutes after I got back, I got the first text message saying, "Hey, I think you're on Facebook."
And in a matter of hours, this video was watched thousands of times with comments ranging from thank yous to lunch offers.
I just cut the guy's lawn. It was nothing big in my mind, and it just kind of snowballed from there.
It probably isn't big because that's what firefighters do. They help. But to a guy who just had a heart attack and clearly loves his landscaping, it likely means a whole lot.
Somebody needs your help, you help them. That's kind of why I got in this career.
In Taylor, Nick Monticelli, Local 4.
Now back to Mr. Zimney. Unfortunately, he is still in critical condition. His family is praying for the best, and so are we.
Time now for a Local 4 update. Several teenagers suspected of vandalizing a Westland home have now been identified.
It is alleged the young men caused $20,000 worth of damage at an old farmhouse that has one of the last barns in Westland. The house sits alone at the end of North Farmington Road. Some suspects were identified through tips, others brought in by their parents.
Comcast expands its low-cost internet access program to seniors. The program is called Internet Essentials, designed to address barriers to internet adoption. And today, the man at the helm of the project explained its objectives here in Detroit.
It's low-cost service at $9.95 a month, the option to purchase a fully internet-capable computer, either a desktop or a laptop, for under $150, and most importantly, free digital literacy training.
And Comcast says through the program, they have connected 4 million low-income Americans to high-speed internet at home.
The U.S. Department of State issues a travel warning for Americans headed to certain parts of Mexico. The warning was issued due to increased criminal activity. Areas like Baja California Sur, where the popular tourist destination Cabo San Lucas is located, have seen a spike in homicide rates. For a complete list of impacted areas, head to clickondetroit.com. After 2 deadly U.S. warships collisions in 2 months, the commander of the Navy's Asia-based 7th Fleet has been dismissed.
Vice Admiral Joseph Aucoin relieved of duty as the search continues for missing U.S. sailors after the USS John S. McCain was hit by an oil tanker on Sunday. Of course, 2 months earlier, 7 U.S. sailors were killed when the USS Fitzgerald collided with a merchant ship. The cause of the McCain crash has not yet been determined. In the wake of the white nationalist rallies in Charlottesville, Virginia, ESPN has pulled an announcer named Robert Lee from broadcasting University of Virginia football games.
ESPN said in a statement it was a collective decision to remove Robert due to the current controversy surrounding the Robert E. Lee statue in Charlottesville and the similarity of their names. The University of Virginia has not commented on the decision. A Massachusetts man is accused of stalking a woman while pretending to be a police officer.
The victim met 46-year-old Kevin Cook several times at 2 separate Starbucks locations. She told police Cook started following her around and making sexual comments toward her.
At one point, she made a comment jokingly that, "Hey, I feel like you're stalking me." And he pulled his shirt up and he displayed what she says is to be a badge.
Cook claimed he never showed a badge. Police said they did not find one on him. However, after the victim reported him, police say they found him in his police interceptor at a Starbucks. He had a small knife and a police baton in a black Ford SUV. Today, Samsung unveiled its newest version of the Galaxy Note phone, the follow-up to the fire-prone Note 7 that underwent a global recall last year.
Samsung's CEO briefly referenced the battery fire issues that prompted a global recall of its Galaxy Note 7 phones. But as the company introduced that phone's successor, the Note 8, it spent nearly an hour touting new features, including ones for its stylus pen to try to bring customers back, highlighting a new battery. The reaction from tech experts was mixed.
I am not sure if that's going to make it actually safer, but it certainly helps with consumer trust.
I think it's a very sexy phone. I think it's a good rebirth of the Note brand.
Okay.
It's a sexy phone.
It's a sexy phone. And it comes just weeks ahead of Apple's anticipated introduction of its 10th anniversary iPhone. Advance orders for the new Note phone begin tomorrow.
A young boy is reunited with his hearing aid today, and that is thanks to the power of social media. Jack DeVito, a first grader in Larchmont, New York, accidentally lost his hearing aid during soccer practice on Monday. According to DeVito's mother, the hearing aid is not covered by insurance and it costs thousands of dollars. Well, his mother posted online asking if anyone had a metal detector that they could use, and she was overwhelmed by the response.
A few minutes after I got to the field, people started showing up to help me search.
We formed a gigantic line. We all just started walking and canvassing. I took a couple steps and I looked down, and in the grass was the hearing aid.
Boop, 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 boop. Now with the hearing aid found, the only goal in Jack's mind is the one on the soccer field again. That's great.
All right, $700 million is up for grabs tonight in the second largest Powerball jackpot in history. And if you've ever wondered how and where the drawing happens, you're about to find out. Kerry Sanders takes us into a vault in an unmarked building in Florida where it all happens.
Well, if you've ever wondered where they actually do the mechanics of all of this, it's in Tallahassee, Florida. We're inside a vault, and this is the vault inside the vault. And as we look through the window here, you can see those black blankets there. There are over 4 different Powerball machines. One of them will be randomly chosen. Then they'll bring out the machine, and the teams will actually weigh. And you can see in the video here, they'll weigh the ping pong balls to make sure that they're all of equal weight. Then they bring them over here into the TV studio, and that's where Laura will be. Hi, Laura. And I think there's a lot of pressure. So what's it like for you knowing $700 million and so many eyes on this moment?
Oh, it is so exciting. I mean, really, the energy is absolutely palpable.
And what happens if something goes wrong?
Well, there are procedures in place, and when something goes wrong, we kick those procedures right into place. But we are counting on not having any glitches at all.
Okay, well, all eyes will be watching tonight for, wow, $700 million. Guys, back to you.
Okay, Kerry, thank you. And remember, we'll have the winning numbers of tonight's Powerball drawing at 11 right here on Local 4 tonight.
When Kerry says if something goes wrong, does he mean if it's not your numbers?
That would be wrong.
That's wrong. A bizarre story playing out in the Pacific Northwest.
New tonight, how 5,000 salmon could cause chaos to the ecosystem. Doc?
Well, you know, it may look odd, but you can't argue with the results. Ahead in good health, the very unusual way this woman right here transformed herself by doing, well, common household chores.
All right, Frank, but first, it may be the worst Tinder date ever. What went so wrong that even a woman's dog ended up going missing.
Oh, boy.
Jeopardy! New at 6.
Heroin overdoses and deaths are soaring, and officers are finding there's just no boundary to where it's happening. Coming up, we'll tell you how West Bloomfield officers here started investigating, and it led them a long ways away.
The Powerball jackpot tonight, $700 million. But I don't want to talk about how much you will get. I want to talk about how much you won't get.
All right, Steve. Police in New Jersey are looking for a man who used his Tinder date as a way to steal things from a home, and that included a dog. An 18-year-old woman was house and dog sitting when she invited a stranger who she met on Tinder over to the house. After the man left, the woman noticed a laptop, an Amazon package, and the family dog all missing. Police are advising today always meet strangers in a public place for a first meeting. My. In good health today, we often complain that there isn't enough time in the day to exercise. But did you know you could burn hundreds of calories with just the usual chores? Gardening, vacuuming, painting, whatever it might be.
How about that? Dr. Frank McGeorge is here with a story of one woman who did just that, Doc.
Exactly, Devin and Kimberly. You know, I always encourage people to build as much physical activity as possible into their normal day. Use the stairs, park further from entrances so you have to walk, and so on. But if work around the house is your thing, there's ways to get even more bang for the buck. This is the before and after photo of Talita Coleman. She lost 75 pounds over 5 years.
Sometimes you just get into the routine and I don't even really know that I'm doing it anymore.
Her routine is eating right and exercising, but her exercises don't require a gym or equipment or money. A lot of what she does to maintain her successful weight loss is at home.
It's a lot easier, and plus you don't have to worry about what you look like.
Right here, she says, you can burn 250 calories squatting up and down on your toes. It's a total leg workout. And add some leg work to unloading groceries. At Talita's home, she has cows and horses that require lifting big bags of feed, but she says you can do this with any pet. And speaking of pets,
Just running back and forth, playing with the dogs. I'm out of breath, my heart rate's up, starting to sweat, and I was having fun. It wasn't really exercise.
Your pets will thank you, and so will your waistline. And once you're a little more advanced, Talita recommends washing floors by hand. She says ditching the mop engages all of your muscle groups.
If you were doing this as I'm doing it, my legs are on fire. The front, the back, and the glutes.
And of course, I'm sure her home is super clean. Now, I would add, this strategy can work for men as well. I want to make sure that we include everyone. And there is actual prior studies that found women are especially attracted to men who do their share of domestic work. So men,
say that louder.
You find that true?
I do find that true.
Lose some weight out there, too. There you go.
That's good.
All right, Doc.
All right, thanks.
Bernie just was.
I'm going to get that sack of feed
he's
out of my
loading
car.
feed. That's exactly what I was thinking.
What was that for?
Down at the Smilovitz Ponderosa.
That's exactly it, right.